On September 26, 1983, a Soviet military officer sat alone in a bunker outside Moscow and decided not to end the world. Nobody told him to make that decision. Nobody gave him permission. His entire training told him to do the opposite, and if he had followed his orders, you would not exist right now. His name was Stanislav Petrov, and almost nobody has heard of him. It was just past midnight. Petrov was the duty officer at Serpukhov 15, a secret Soviet nuclear early warning facility. His job was simple. If the system detected an incoming American nuclear missile, he had 12 minutes to report it up the chain of command. The Soviet military would then launch a retaliatory strike, mutually assured destruction. That was the plan. At 12:15 a.m., the alarm went off. Not a small alarm, a screaming, flashing, full system alert. The word launch appeared on the main screen in large red letters. The computer was reporting that the United States had just fired a nuclear missile directly at the Soviet Union. Petrov had 12 minutes. He looked at the screen. He looked at his team. Everyone was staring at him, waiting for him to pick up the phone and report the launch to his superiors. That was the protocol. That was what every piece of his training demanded. He did not pick up the phone. Something felt wrong. The system was showing only one missile. One. Petrov knew that if the United States was actually launching a nuclear attack, they would not fire one missile, they would fire hundreds. A single missile made no strategic sense. It felt like a malfunction, but the computer said, launch. The computer had never been wrong before. Every sensor was confirming the alert. His colleagues were shouting at him. The clock was ticking. Petrov reported it as a false alarm. He had no proof. He had no backup data. He had a gut feeling and a logical argument that one missile made no sense. That was it. That was the entire basis for his decision to potentially ignore the opening shot of World War III. He was right. The alert had been caused by a rare atmospheric phenomenon. Sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds had been misread by the Soviet satellite system as a missile launch signature. The most sophisticated nuclear early warning system in the world had been fooled by sunlight. If Petrov had followed protocol, his report would have gone up the chain of command in minutes. The Soviet military leadership, already on high alert after the USSR had shot down a Korean passenger jet just 3 weeks earlier, would have faced a decision: retaliate or don't. The political pressure to retaliate would have been enormous, and a Soviet nuclear strike on the United States would have triggered an American response within minutes. Researchers who have studied the incident believe a full nuclear exchange between the two superpowers in 1983 would have killed between 500 million and 1 billion people within the first 72 hours. More would have followed from the nuclear winter. Stanislav Petrov was not celebrated. He was quietly reprimanded for failing to properly document the incident in his logbook during those 12 minutes. He was reassigned. He retired early. He spent years living alone in a small apartment outside Moscow, growing potatoes in his garden, telling almost nobody what he had done. He gave one interview in the 1990s when the story finally became public. A reporter asked him if he considered himself a hero. Petrov paused for a long time. Then he said he was simply in the right place at the right time, that any other officer might have done the same thing. He was probably wrong about that. Most officers would have followed protocol. That was the entire point of protocol. You follow it so that individual judgment does not interfere with the system. Petrov's individual judgment was the only thing that worked that night. He died in 2017, alone, in that small apartment. Most of the world did not notice. You are alive right now in part because a Soviet military officer trusted a hunch over a computer on a Tuesday night in 1983. He had 12 minutes, no proof, and everything to lose. He chose correctly, and the world never thanked him.